Live from 14 WFIE, this is Education Matters.
Hello everyone and welcome to Education Matters. I'm Jennifer Cahill.
And I'm Vince Bertram.
Here we are Wednesday morning, and the issue of expanding vouchers for private schools is coming to Evansville tonight. A public forum on the issue is planned for this evening at 7:10 in the Browning Room of Central Library in Evansville. Two groups will offer their viewpoints on the issue and open it up for public comment. The issue is currently being debated in the Indiana General Assembly. To Ohio now, where a mother has been convicted of a felony for falsifying her address so that she could send her children to a better school district. The 40-year-old single mother said she only wanted to help her daughters escape their crime-ridden neighborhood and send them to a better school. The suburban school district hired a private investigator who videotaped the mom living at the wrong address and driving her daughters into the district. The mother was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but the judge reduced her sentence to 10 days. Now, this is a sad story. It's hard to blame a mother for wanting a better life for her children, but you feel very strongly about this.
I do, because I think it raises a number of issues. One being, I would hope as a school district we would have better use of our resources to hire private investigators to keep kids out of our district. And I think that's one big piece, as well as the judicial system and how we're using it to punish people. Certainly it's wrong. We shouldn't have to falsify records. Parents shouldn't have to make that happen. But the third issue, I believe, is the whole conversation happening at both the state and national level, and that is school choice and giving parents an opportunity to put their children in schools that best meet their needs. And that's what we're doing here locally. I think we're fortunate because we have a public school district, we have outstanding Catholic schools, outstanding charter schools, and we're opening a number of options and opportunities to our parents and giving them the choice to come here, as well as to out of county. So I believe it's a critical issue, one that deserves the national discourse it's getting.
And I think certainly there are probably parents doing the exact same thing that woman was here in Indiana, and now they aren't at risk of being prosecuted because we've opened up our boundaries to anybody.
We are, and I think there's always a danger, particularly when you get into transfer situations, that you don't discriminate. You know, can children with disabilities go to the school of choice? And that's one of the things we're going to have a discussion later about vouchers, is that oftentimes, and that's my biggest concern, is maintaining equity so that all children have access to those kind of opportunities and experiences.
All right, well, thank you, Dr. Bertram. And coming up next, we'll be talking about keeping your children healthy. Find out information that you need to know right after this.
The health and wellness of our children is one of the most important issues we deal with, and childhood obesity is rising, and schools are beginning to take a look at the role they can play in helping kids lead healthy lives.
21st century schools are facing a growing list of responsibilities. Academics is just one of them.
Kids are the whole package. So what we want to do is, in order for children to be successful academically, they need to have their health needs met.
Cathy Gray is the EVSC Associate Superintendent for Family, School, and Community Partnerships. She oversees the Coordinated School Health Model in the school corporation. Coordinated School Health, Gray says, is another name for full-service community schools, a concept with 8 components all focused on the whole health of a child.
A kid that has a toothache has difficult difficulty concentrating in school. So when you have the mobile dental clinic coming to schools and providing dental care, that helps the child and the family. The research shows that there is a direct correlation between health and academic success.
24 schools have adopted a deliberate approach to increasing the wellness of the children.
At one school, at Plaza, for instance, they started a walking club, and they increased breakfast consumption by 56% as a result of kids getting their bodies moving in the morning.
But all schools are part of the coordinated school health model.
We're working in all schools. We've developed a wellness policy with our community partners, and we're working with food services, and they've changed some of the offerings in the school cafeterias so that kids are having healthier selections.
EVSC has teamed up with St. Mary's, Deaconess, and Echo to offer services like the mobile dental clinic, nutritionist, and respiratory therapist. EVSC is also asking for parents' help.
You know, we can't do this work by ourselves. You know, the child spends most of their time in their home, and so we need to work with the family. Our expectation is that kids come to school healthy and ready to learn. That's why we're having the forum, and it's so that we can provide our families with some of the tools and the resources about how to think about health, healthy snacks, and getting kids up and moving.
Reporting for Education Matters, I'm Jennifer Cahill.
And I'm joined by Dr. Joe Klemczewski, an expert in physical therapy, health, and nutrition. He has been influential in our coordinated school health model. In the story Jennifer just did, and we talked about a community forum, an upcoming forum. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? Welcome to the show, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, tomorrow night we're going to be at Glenwood Leadership Academy, and we're going to have a very interactive program for the kids, a place where they can start getting some information about health and nutrition, topped off with a presentation where families, we want parents there especially, going to get a lot of good tangible help with what they can do.
This has been a national debate and a national conversation, and in fact all the way to the White House. And Michelle Obama, this has been one of her initiatives, particularly around childhood obesity. So how big of an issue is this across the country?
In the last generation alone, we've seen almost every demographic of kids from 2 to 19 years old experience tripling or quadrupling of obesity rates. It's bigger than you can imagine.
Okay, so how do we get to it? Obviously, it's a complex issue. It's not just a school issue, but more of a community issue and a society issue. So how do we get to this?
There are so many variables that impact the kid's life, and when you boil it all down to some of the media they encounter, their home and parental environment, but even the things that the school system does, as Dr. Gray talked about, are just tremendously impactful on what they go through. So I think you really have to hit it from every angle possible.
What we've seen across the country is in an era of declining resources, we've seen cutbacks in things like physical education in particular. And so how can schools adapt to that? And then we want to talk a little bit more about things like school lunches as well.
Mm-hmm. The biggest thing the school can do is what they've always done well, and that's just champion information. I remember myself going through school decades ago when a lot of anti-drug, the DARE programs and so forth came out. It was very influential on me. And we need to do the same things with nutrition and health and empowering the kids with information and education that they can control their own lives.
Okay, so it's not just an issue of, you know, in a typical physical education class, historically we've taught things like team sports and so forth. What we're really talking about is wellness and a lifestyle change.
Right, I'd love to see schools try and get kids to be active in some kind of physical activity every day, but it's really not the school's, you know, this is where a debate may come in. The school's biggest focus is to police how active the kids are. They're only there 8 hours a day. So it's a place where they have to give the kids the information, provide all the opportunity they can, but there are bigger issues as well.
So what can families, children do outside of school and in their daily lives to enhance their, even if they're not going to the gym and doing those things, I'm sure there are other ways they can enhance their fitness, level of fitness.
They have to have a plan, and it goes back to when you and I were kids. There was no social media, there was no internet, probably not even cable TV, certainly not in my house. And so social media was you and I getting on a bike and going to see our friends. And so parents have to be involved in monitoring screen time, providing some boundaries and information in the home, and model it, be a part of it.
So moving forward, and you know, as we think about wellness plans and so forth from a school level, what recommendations would you make in terms of what this looks like for our children in our schools?
I'd really start with the curriculum. And I know this has been a priority for the Evansville School Corporation and a lot of school systems across the country. Just enveloping almost every aspect of the curriculum with that health and wellness model, getting that information, posters everywhere, making a statement of what you allow in the school lunches and in the vending machines and so forth, and then possibly working to change some curriculum, making it more mandatory for some physical education. But really it's the overall culture that we create.
Because that's one of the things we have done in recent times, last couple of years, removed a lot of the carbonated beverages from schools and machines, as well as looked at the selections and candy machines.
Right.
We've taken a lot of the candy out, so
Right.
I think that's been good. We've seen some great improvements in our school lunch program over the last several years, and a lot of this is due to your efforts. So we appreciate the work you're doing with our children and our schools, and thank you for being with us today.
Love to do it. Thank you.
It's always nice to talk to the Diet Doc.
Thank you.
So thank you. Up next, we'll take a look at your child's health from a different perspective by going inside EVSC's Coordinated School Health Program at one of our schools, right after this.